is there no observer? Is there observing? There is just what's appearing to happen. Um, it seems that there's things focused on and attention brought to certain things. When you feel like a person, it's a lived feeling of you bringing your attention to what's appearing to happen. That's consciousness. Awareness is a focusing on certain information, um, and a sense that there's a you there observing it. When there's no sense of being separate anymore, there's just what's appearing to happen. It's not describable, really. Um, that that focus isn't the same again as it was when you felt there. That knowing that some things appear to come to the foreground, but not in the same way as when you're looking at them. There's an observer when there feels like there's a person. There's a sense of being the person who's observing something that's real, something that's really happening, and that there's a you, and there's an event or a thing or a person or whatever, and that feels completely real. In the same way that there's a sense that there's a scene, yeah, if you want to say scene of things, trees, people, things. When you feel like somebody, a person, then it feels like you're seeing them and they're an object to your subject. Whereas when you don't feel there anymore, it's just there's life, treeing, life, computering. It's all energy. It's the same and it's totally different, indescribably different.
Hi, Kenneth.
Hi.
I'm not able to raise my hand here for some reason.
Well, you're all right.
Um,
No need.
no, it's on a laptop instead of the phone, so can't
Okay.
find the place. But along the same lines of what you were just saying, I heard so many times that this is it, exactly the way it is.
Mm-hmm.
And I see what I've been doing is looking at outside there, looking at all of that, and that this is it, and sort of somehow completely ignoring the all the myriad of things that are going on and the looker, if you know what I mean. Like standing apart from all of that. But there's so much going on, emotions, thoughts, whatever. And that's all exactly as it is as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I don't know if I'm stating the obvious. But
Yeah, what I would say is there's no looker really. There's no. I wouldn't differentiate between looking out there and in here because there is no in here and out there. You
yeah.
know, it wouldn't matter whether you were focused on whether someone was focused on kind of things that seem to be happening to them and other people in the environment and not in tune with maybe what seem like internal processes or thoughts, emotions, reactions to things, all of that. It wouldn't really matter because there's no inner or outer, actually. There's just what's appearing to happen.
Mm. But somehow I was standing apart from all of that out there
Mm.
and maintaining the separation somehow.
When you say standing apart from all that out there, what do you mean? Like,
Uh, well, everything that can be seen, I guess, everything that can be seen and heard and sensed. Um,
you were feeling separate to it.
yeah, yeah.
Mm.
An observer.
Okay, yeah, yeah. Fair enough. But that was just what was happening then. There was no you that
And
was
that,
maintaining
yeah,
any of that by
yeah,
doing, or there was
yeah,
no you that was maintaining that sense of observer by doing or not doing anything. It's simply
yeah,
just what was appearing to happen, or maybe continues to appear to happen. I don't know.
yeah. And and also that standing separate is also what's happening.
Oh
Um,
yeah, yeah. There's just energy, and that's all there is energy, and that appears as a car that goes down the road.
mhm,
A little breeze that stirs the leaves, a sensation of sitting on a seat, um, a voice, anything one could describe is simply energy.
mm,
And also, energy appears as a sense that there's life and there's me with my life, an independent, separate observer who has agency, who has a life and who has agency over that life,
yeah,
and therefore has control, has volition, has the ability to choose different things that will bring about different outcomes and improve or disimprove their life. And all of that is just energy, also, and it's all a story. But for the person, what I just said there does not feel like a story at all.
no,
Like it's a really felt feeling that I have a life. So if that's brought to this communication, now if there's someone here that feels like that, then they will try to understand what's said. That's fine, and try to apply it to their life. You know, how can I apply what's been said here to my life to make my life better? And really, what's been said, if it's really heard, it's that it resonates and it's seen that there's no one to apply anything to. There's nothing to be applied. There's just
mm,
simply energy. And then that sense of being separate, if it appears to fall away, everything is different. It's the exact same, but it's totally different. Everything is suddenly new. It's not describable, but it's and the funny thing about it is it's seen in that scene is the scene that it's always been like this. It's always just been new energy, nothing being everything. And
mm,
that sense that there was a me and a story of me, it just immediately is seen as a complete, total, and utter story. Nothing but a story. That's all. No, with no substance to it whatsoever. It didn't even start. And then, boom. And that scene can be at any time.
Mm.
And it's beyond understanding. It's beyond the mind. All of these terms, non-duality, all of these expressions, and all this, they're just boom gone, because they're just pointers. They're irrelevant. They don't matter at all. All what's being shared here is completely beyond concept and understanding, and is absolutely ordinary and inescapable.
Yeah, there's this sort of a hanging on, if you know what I mean, to that separate observer, wanting to observe everything but maintain
Oh yeah, I
some
mean the
some sense of individuality.
totally, yeah, of course there is, because the person just wants to be a person, doesn't it? Like the individual is only interested in being an individual.
Yeah.
So when there's a sense of being an individual, then that's, that will attempt to just continue that closed loop of being an individual. Like what's being shared here, you don't want what's being shared here at all. The person, the individual does not want this at all, and therefore is not being spoken to here. Some people sense that very quickly, that they're not being spoken to here. Not being, because they're, how can I speak to them when I can't see them? They're not there. There's already nobody, in the sense that there's already just energy, nothing being everything, appearing to people. So there's that sense of separation that anybody may have is only a story. It's only artificial already, and that's what's been illuminated. And there can be no agenda in that then, because if it's someone might say, okay, there's a real resonance with what you're saying, and boom, or I tried to say it's just resonating, and maybe that sense of being a person isn't there anymore. But then there would be no differentiation here between that and someone who says, well, I still feel like a person. Because that is also just what's appearing to happen. Now that's cruel for the person who still feels like a person, because they see a carrot of not being a person and they think they want it.
There's a feeling of being a person hanging on to the top of a cliff by fingernails, and hearing what you're saying and just desperately trying to hang on.
Yeah.
And then knowing that what you're talking about is free fall.
Yeah.
But you can't let go.
No, there's nobody there to let go. No.
Nobody there to let go.
No. And it is the sense, if let's say there's a sense of hanging on by the cliff, and let's say there's a sense of fear, absolute fear there, then the amazing thing is, it is the fear already. It is just the fear. It's just the fear. That's what's happening. But for the person, it can't be the fear. No, it can't be the fear. This can't be it. No. It's when I was in that ashram 10 years ago, and I was filled with just unconditional love. That it has to be that. It can't be fucking fear. Don't tell me it's fear. I don't like fear. Fear is nasty. Fear is horrible. It's ugh. So when I get rid of this fear, when I understand this fear, and I control this fear, and this fear doesn't happen anymore, then maybe I'll see what Kenneth is talking about, or all these other people are talking about. And around and around and around and around and around, it appears to go. That's the way it is. And it is already the fear. And that's why it's a constant leak. It can just be, because it can just be seen at any time. There is no time anyway. So it's fear is what's happening. And fear is full on aliveness.
And pain and agony is
everything. There's nothing you can't name that isn't just energy. Nothing. It's impossible. You can't say anything that's.
Yeah.
And it's in that very way that the individual already isn't there.
Yeah.
The individual is already a story. very
Thanks.
simple. This is what's yearned for by the person is very, 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 very simple. That's the problem.
Mm.
That's for the problem for the person. The person feels it has to be something other than this is just too ordinary and boring and or whatever. It has to be something around the corner.
Mm.
And people think like, oh yeah, it's just what's happening, but then they have an unpleasant feeling and they say, but yeah, that's fair enough, but it's not this though. It's it's not fear, it's not whatever.
Yeah. Yeah. Thanks.
Thank you, Larry. You seem to speak from your experience, but there is no experiencer. What is speaking? What is experiencing without experiencer? So that's what's happening there then. There's a sense then of what was said there, that's what's happening here. So that's what's appearing to happen there then. Obviously this is no thing. This is from nothing. This is a suggestion from nothing. There's only energy. That's all. The experiencer is the sense of being a person who feels real, feels separate, and has an experience of something that appears to be real, that appears to be happening. There is no experience. When there's no sense of being a person, there's nobody who experiences anything. There has to be a sense of being separate to have an experience. And it's something that you have. So when there's no sense of being a person, there's just what's appearing to happen, which is indescribable. And that's what's been illuminated here. It's not an experience, it's not a state, it's not anything you can imagine. It's much more ordinary and direct and just simply what appears. Maureen. So it's very astonishing, but what actually falls away as there's nothing to fall away. Yeah, so there isn't. So that's when speaking about it, it's spoken about in those terms that there's a sense, but that's why the word apparent is used over and over and over again. Apparently falls away, nothing actually happens, and that's seen when it's seen, because there's already no body. What Wasanta? Did I get your name right?
This is primark. I am using my husband's Zoom.
Oh,
He
okay.
used the Zoom and he put his name on.
Oh, I see.
Yeah. So what is happening here is that all the stories coming up. So there's so many stories going, and then there is like sort of want to relax, and then what happened is I do is just listen to Jim Newman, you or somebody I listen to, and then calmness and like going into, I don't know what's the state, but it's like really nice, just energy flowing. And so I know you will say that's what's happening, but that's what's happening, isn't it? So there's no cheating because I'm not doing anything. It's just happening. So stories come up, and then then I listen. Then there's a listening happen, and then there's this nice floating feeling happen. So whatever happened, that's what's happening.
It's just what's appearing to happen.
Yeah, there's nothing else.
Yeah, there's no, like these characters you mentioned, they're only stories also. There's only just energy.
Yeah.
That's all. So there's not even a communication really, or a message or anything like that. There is in the story, like it's real in the story. It appears real, but none of it has any meaning. So like if there was suddenly a loss of interest in listening to Kenneth or Jim or any one of the other speakers, then that's what would appear to happen. It wouldn't mean anything. It wouldn't make any difference whatsoever.
Yeah. But then this relaxation happened, energy. I don't know what's the word. Like I don't know what it is, but it happened. So it's so nice. So it happened. Keep happening. Like.
Yeah. When there's a draw, when there's a resonance with what's being shared, there's a real strong draw to it, and it's that resonance is indescribable. Like you're using the word relaxing. I think it's beyond relaxing. Really, it's not really what people would imagine relaxing as. It is relaxing in the sense that it's the relaxing of a contraction. So it is that sense, like the sense of being a person is a contraction. It's a contracted energy, an apparently contracted energy. So that is a kind of a release of that. Um, so in that way, but it's also totally indescribable. There's a boundlessness to it, and the words don't come close to it really. And when that
Yeah,
resonates, then there's a very strong draw to it. But what can
yeah, but
also be seen then, what can also be seen is like buying a liter of milk in your shop is that also, that it's not that there's some communication that has some boundless energy to it that you can, you know resonate with, and then that's it then, and then this everything else is just kind of humdrum normal life. It can be seen that there is no ordinary, there is no meeting, there is no extraordinary, there's energy, which so buying milk in the shop is, it can just be seen that it's boundless, and it's everything already. So it's in that very way that some people don't come back to meetings or don't feel drawn back to meetings or whatever, because it's just seen, it's just everything, it's inescapable. So sometimes they kind of dip in and out then as well, or maybe they still, it doesn't matter, none of it
yeah,
matters.
yeah, yeah. I mean, I can't do anything anyway. So whatever happened is happened, isn't it? Like
Yeah,
whatever happened is
of
happened.
course, because it's not even that you can't do anything. Yeah, like you're not
Yeah, there's
there.
no me.
Yeah. So
Mm,
that's the amazing thing. It's just, there's just what's appearing to happen. You're not
yeah,
watching the
like
you're not watching the videos, or you're not participating in the Zoom
yeah,
meetings, or are you are in the story. It's just a story, that's all.
yeah,
Whereas it's not a story to the person. You really are, the person really is. Like, I'm really watching those videos on YouTube. I'm really participating in the Zoom meetings. There's a real sense of living in the real. It's all very real for the person, and that's the way it
yeah,
is. It feels absolutely real.
yeah. The story keep happening, and then there's this thought coming up saying, why do you want to escape the story? Because story is the nature of the life, so let the story happen. Without the story it will be very boring, and that thought keep
Yeah, and
coming
that
up.
and that's just a thought, that therefore that's a thought that is arising. That's
Mm,
all.
yeah,
Like
I think I like the
when you
story.
say that, you see, the person kind of feels that everything will be lost when they're lost. If they're really lost, like if I really fall away and there's no me anymore, then there's a real sense I have to give up my. It can be terrifying actually, because there's a sense of I have to give up my kids, my family, my loved ones, my friendships. That's all very dear to me. How can I, my job, my all the things I love? No way, I can't give any of that up. And that's really feels very real to the person, and I need to be here for all of those things. And the gorgeous thing is then when you apparently fall away, everything is just the exact same, and
Yeah,
there's a
yeah,
friendship appears to happen, and a partnership appears to happen, and children appear to happen, and all of those things, and all of those roles are still there. But what's very, very clear is that you're not in there doing any of them. They're just
yeah, yeah,
stories. So that, of course, the story's still there. Like it's just has a completely different quality to it. It's the difference between something feeling absolutely real and something being seen as a story. It's the same thing you're talking about, but it's not describable, the difference. Because when it feels absolutely real, it feels absolutely real. When it seemed to be a story, you know.
yeah. It's like a cartoon film, isn't it?
Mm,
Yeah, and I at the moment something really like some things I do at the moment, like thinking, why do I resist them? Doesn't matter. That's what comes up. So I do them because it doesn't matter.
well,
Like I it,
but you don't even do them though.
yeah, I don't do them.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
whatever happened, happened.
yeah.
Yeah. Thanks. Thank you.
Thanks. it feels like I'm seeing things through an insecure cloud of unworthiness, guilt. That's probably guilt and heaviness. Yeah, I mean that's very much characterizes this sense of being a separate person. There's a huge sense of unworthiness in feeling like a person. That's generally not that acknowledged. It depends where you're looking, but in the story, it's kind of everything has to be good and great, and um, look at social media. Here's me on holidays. Here's me having a great time. Here's me. People don't go put it up. Here's a picture of me. I feel like shit. I've been depressed for fucking a week now. Well, maybe some people do as well in a different kind of way, but generally you put your best foot forward. You put a face to meet the faces that we meet. So then there's not really, people sense I'm the one who feels unworthy, and everyone else feels great. It's part of the story. But there is a sense of unworthiness that you can't really put your finger on. And what's being shared here really is, and that can even underlay a sense of positive self-worth, even like a sense of feeling, I'm enjoying the person you are, enjoying people around you, enjoying life, enjoying the roles, being quite happy, as they say, if you want to put it that way. And even under that, there can be a sense of there's something kind of missing. I'm not sure what it is. So it can be very subtle. And essentially, what's being shared here is that sense of unworthiness is to do with your sense of separation, because you feel that there's a world out there and there's a little you here who's interacting with it, and so that births the sense of unworthiness because you've lost everything. And what's being suggested is you have never lost everything because you are not. So most communications would say you've lost everything. I can show you how to get back to everything. These clearer communications that are available now don't do that, because they're illuminating that there's nowhere to get back to, because the whole point is that there never was a you to begin with, so nothing was ever lost. You were lost looking for it, and what's being yearned for is simply already just what's appearing. Hi, Kim.
Hi, Kenneth. It's just a comment to all this, but it seems so far out, um, blowing away um, everything in a way, or put it up into the air and it comes down freely, or it's yeah, in a way, I just think it's what you say. It's undescribable. Um, it goes. Yeah, it's like coming back or whatever. And even this, no one is coming back, but yeah, it's just uh, yeah, wonderful to, yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
totally. Yeah.
I hear you.
I think I just want to say hello.
I know, yeah. Oh, it's lovely. Hi, Kim.
Goodbye.
Goodbye. Nice to speak to you.
See.
You see, I got my award. I think they're a little bit biased, but I'll take it. That's what happens when you fall away. You just win accolades and awards, and it's wonderful. I'll go on my CV now. Thanks, guys. Nice to see you. See you soon, yeah?
Thank you so
Thank you
much.
very much, Kenneth.
Thanks,
Thank
guys.
you.
Thank
See
you.
you. Bye.
Bye.
Thanks, guys.